Winning one Champions League is the ultimate prize for a club, but we're going to win all three by completing a Pentagon challenge. The goal of the challenge is to win all three of the Champions Leagues on FIFA, plus the MLS, and then the World Cup with an African team. But here's the twist. I won't be picking any of the teams I'll be using. Of course, that would be way too easy. Instead, we'll use ChatGPT to pick our route, our style of play, and loads more, proving that robots can be the ultimate assistant manager. So, which continent are we conquering first? Over to ChatGPT. Well, it looks like we're starting in Brazil, and what a team to be given. Starting in the Libertadores, if we win here, we can wipe off South America straight away. So let's find out what tactics we're going to be using. I think this tactic works really well with this squad, and my god, the squad looks unreal. David Luiz, Gabigol, Arturo Vidal, and two wingers called Everton. There's no reason we can't go all the way. But ChatGPT isn't done just yet. We also have another 2 goals to do in this season. We need to win the Serie A, which is the Brazilian First Division, and find a player with over 88 potential. Now, 88 potential isn't super rare, so we'll be sending our scouts out to Brazil, Chile, and Uruguay. And oh my god, look at this first month's scouting report. It's a real shame we're going to be moving around clubs, because I would love to use these guys for a long time. But back to the present day. Technically, the AI never said we actually have to find a player with youth scouts, so why don't we steal Brazil's hottest prospect before he joins Real Madrid from our rivals, Endrick. Welcome to Rio de Janeiro. Of course, with the hype behind him, we had to put him in for this first game in the Libertadores, but would he repay our faith? Well, he scored after 9 minutes, he scored in the 21st minute right here, and then he scored again in the 23rd minute to make it a 23-minute hat-trick on your debut as a 16-year-old. Of course, we were totally dominant in the Libertadores, destroying basically all of these smaller teams, but with play like this, it was no doubt we were going to get quite far in the tournament. Brilliant passing play straight to Barbosa into the side netting. It's a shame we've not been this dominant in the actual league matches, because we are actually struggling quite a bit. Hopefully we could turn things around in this game against Palermo, because you have to beat them if you want to win the league. And we came incredibly close to doing so, hitting the post in the 28th minute, and a really good save there from Weverton, keeping us out in the 85th minute. But it was finally time to turn our focus back to the Libertadores round of 16. We got drawn with a really weak team, so we were expecting to win this one quite easily. A really good June meant that we were actually going to be in the top 4 going into the second half of the season. We did get really lucky with our draw in the Copa Libertadores though. All the strong teams are on the other side of the draw, so we'd only really be facing them in the final. As expected, we came out strong, Gabriel Barbosa putting us ahead after a penalty in the 9th minute. We'd get a couple of other chances, but we would easily win 6-0 on aggregate to get through to the quarterfinals of the Libertadores. And even better, it looked like we were bringing our form and our luck with us into the league. Somehow we beat the goalkeeper and tucked it away into an empty net. This goal from Gabriel Barbosa would be the one that actually officially put us into first place in the league, overtaking Palermo, but they have got a game in hand. We were going to have to play a lot of games in August though. We had back-to-back games 2 weeks in a row. We'd be lucky if we could do anything against Santos and Internacional after playing Nacional in the Libertadores semi-finals just 1 day before. It seemed like the best idea we could think of was to try and promote as many of our youth academy players as we could, just so we could at least get 11 fit players on the pitch at any time. Of course, our main goal this season is to try and win the Libertadores, so we put our strongest team out against the Uruguayan champions Nacional. We got a couple of early chances that maybe we could have curled in the far corner, but unfortunately for us, neither of them came off. Just before half-time though, Pedro storms through one-on-one, tries to step over around the goalkeeper, and another really lucky ricochet bounces to Pedro, and Flamengo would win the first leg 2-0. You can see how tired our players were for the game against Santos, but it didn't matter. We end up losing the Santos game, but with a 2-0 lead in this one, that's all that mattered. Endrick would get through on goal, and he would basically finish the tie. With 30 minutes gone, we were 3-0 up. Another goal would basically mean we could sub our entire team off and prepare them for the Internacional game. That's exactly what Barbosa did from the penalty spot. Another Endrick man of the match performance and another 4-0 aggregate win, this time in the quarterfinals of the Libertadores. Next up, Colo Colo in the semi-finals. It was going to be our captain Arturo Vidal against his boyhood club. He came through the academy here in Chile. He was going to have to beat them in the semi-finals if he wanted a final match against Palermo or Boca Juniors. But if there's one player it doesn't seem like actually feels any kind of pressure, it's Endrick. He is still 16 years old on the game, And he's doing finishes like that to put us ahead in the semi-finals of a continental competition. Of course, we aren't just Endrick FC, we do have Barbosa as well, proving that he is just as good even if he is about 10 years older. Colo Colo would get a chance here though, but it was a really good save from Santos. By now we know that 3-0 basically kills the game, so when Endrick walked into the box and smashed it home, we knew we were in the final of the Libertadores. We didn't really have to consider much about the second leg other than which team we would prefer to face. I think Boca Juniors are the worst of the two teams, but either way it was going to be a really tough final. But before we can even think about the final, we've got to finish off our league matches with just a couple of games left. It's important for us to get as many points as possible. We also probably scored our goal of the season. I mean, just look at that hit. We ended off the season with 2 wins and a draw from our last 3 games, which brought us all the way up to 4th in the table. Briefly, we were around 6th to 7th, and we could have possibly come 2nd in the league. Those back-to-back games probably cost us in the long run. Anyway, it's final time. So suddenly the big day was here. It's now time for the final of the Copa Libertadores. And I have to be honest, this is actually the first time I've ever done this final. I've won the Sudamericana, I've won the Champions League, the Europa League, but never the Libertadores. So this is all new for me, as I'm sure it is for a lot of you guys as well. There is the trophy. Hopefully our team will be lifting this in just 90 minutes time against Brazilian rivals Palmeiras. There's the 2 routes to the final and we're ready for kickoff. Right, early free kick for us here. We're going to go near post along the floor hopefully. Oh, goalkeeper just gets across in time. Good shot though. Right, can we turn here? Everton Ribeiro. He's got Pedro. Pedro is through. Pedro 1-on-1. Ball roll. Slots it in. Coolly finished. So just before half time, it's 1-0. Really good finish in the final. Endrick unfortunately injured, so we are playing Pedro, but he is a much higher rated player and proving why there. Time for a Palmeiras attack. Looks like we did actually make contact in the box. Good job he didn't go down. Everton's been taken out right there. Felipe Luis is on the charge, but half time though, 1-0 up. We'll take that for sure. Time to make some substitutions though. We are getting a little bit tired. Maybe get David Luiz on for some big match experience. Barbosa's injured. So that's our 2 top scorers both out injured for this game in Endrick and Barbosa, but still 1-0. Everton, he's found Pedro again. So Pedro through 1-on-1. If he can score here, it might be game over. Drags it just wide. Should be doing better there, Rear Pedro. He's got like 86 finishing. Palmeiras in the attack now. Tabata finds Almasi. David Luiz is trying to cover the space, but big gap's been left by them. Tabata's through 1-on-1. Good save from Santos. Almaty tries to get there, but Luis somehow blocks him off. Another attack now for Palmeiras. Just 20 minutes to go. Ronnie, he's been taken out. Looks like a foul there from David Luiz. It could be a red card. It could be a penalty. What is the referee going to do? No card at all. I am very surprised with that because that looked like a clear goal-scoring opportunity. But is it inside the box? No, it's just on the outside of the box. How lucky have Flamengo got there? But it's a free kick here. Ronnie runs over the ball. Goes near post. The goalkeeper just about keeps it in. Hit the post, I think. Another free kick given away by David Luiz. Are they going to do a trick play again? Nope. Ronnie's going to hit it. Oh my gosh. That's gone in from 35, 40 meters out. In the cup final, that's got to be one of the best goals of any Copa Libertadores final ever. Good dribble here from Henrique. He's got past 2 of his players. Can he pull it back? Oh, there was a man waiting, but he couldn't get there in time. Oh, is there going to be one last chance here for Palmeiras? Pulls it back to Ronnie. Ronnie to Viega. His curling effort misses the post by millimeters. You can see why he's furious. His team's nearly lost it, but they have taken Palmeiras to extra time now in the Libertadores final. Aresquia. He goes around the goalkeeper. It's an open net. From a really tight angle, he's managed to just squeeze it in. A great through ball from Everton Ribeiro. And it's yet again another lead for Flamengo in this final. Gerson finds Felipe Luis, the 37-year-old. Can he finish the game? He tries to pull it across. Rebounds back to him. That's exactly where Gabriel Barbosa would have been. What a shame he's gone off injured because it probably would have been 3-1. Right, 100 minutes into this game now. Palmeiras on the attack. They're running down the right. Goalkeeper saves it, but it rebounds straight to Navarro. He volleys it in from an equally tight angle. Very similar to the goal Flamengo just scored. And it's 2-2 in the final yet again. Arrascaeta, he gets through on goal yet again. He stops though. Pulls it back to Gerson. How has he missed that? From the penalty spot, he's really going to be hitting the target at the very least. And it's going to go to a penalty shootout. Biggest game in South American football, going to a penalty shootout. It's all down to the goalkeepers. Now, Palmeiras missed their first penalty and Flamengo score. So it's 1-0 to Flamengo. Next up, Lopez chips it down the middle, makes it 1-1, but they have had an extra penalty. Flamengo restore their lead 2-1 now. Next up, Mauro Jr., another chip down the middle. Very audacious kind of penalties here. Luis steps up and it's saved. Palmeiras go ahead for the first time. Gerson, he missed that easy chance at the end, but scores his penalty. So one more before sudden death. Tabata steps up. It's saved. What a save from Santos. So that means this penalty goes in. Flamengo are South American champions. He's got the run-up. He's got the confidence. He's got the goal. He is the hero. Bruno Henrique could have won it in normal time, but he has won it in the penalty shootout. And Flamengo are winners of the Copa Libertadores. What a final that is. One of my favourite finals I think I've ever done. We might not have done both of the little secondary objectives, but we have won the continental competition, so we will be heading to a different continent for the next season, which will be coming out very soon on this channel. Of course, we did get the 88 potential player that we wanted. We didn't win the league, but still. Just seeing Felipe Luis at 37 years old lifting this trophy is worth the effort that it took to win the Copa Libertadores with Flamengo. Looks like we'll be heading to the USA with another really cool team to be given. This is only their second season in the MLS, so we'll be fully rebuilding St. Louis and going for an MLS Cup in Season 1. Let's see how we're going to be lining up. So to play the recommended 3-4-3 formation, we'll have to fully rebuild, so we'll be using as much of our £45 million budget as possible. We might see a couple of Flamengo players return later in the season. Gabigol's decided he wants to leave Brazil, but he hasn't come to us. You know ChatGPT isn't done yet, so we also have two other goals: never have less than 7 Americans on the pitch, and to sign a player over 83 overall. Sure, there's tons of players at this rating, but it's going to use way too much of our budget if we go too young on this player. So welcome to the club, Roberto Firmino. A player of his class for just 22 million is a great deal, but it's good news we're moving clubs quite soon because we're probably going to fill this club with loads of aging players. We needed a defensive midfielder who could communicate in both English and Portuguese, so welcome to St. Louis, Andre Gomez. And while we're filling our team with good new players, we also had chance to pick some draft players. Chris Watson could become an absolute star, so you'll definitely be seeing him on the pitch at some point this season. So now we have our fully revamped squad. Compare it to what we had before and it is so much better. We put out a team with 8 of the 11 players being signed this summer, but of course the main man was Klaus, who we didn't even sign. He scored 2 goals early on and scored us the winner to make us win 3-2 in the first game, but the hat-trick wasn't even the biggest news. There was a massive injury now for Andre Gomez on his debut, so we decided to promote Chris Watson instead. We noticed he was a really good left mid, so he covers 2 vital areas of the pitch in this 3-4-3 formation. Klaus continued to do the business, winning us this game against Montreal in Canada, his 8th goal in 7 games, and we were shooting up the table, almost guaranteed a playoff spot already. Our next game was massive against 2nd placed LAFC. What a time for Watson to step up. Former Borussia Dortmund goalkeeper Roman Bürki also had to step up. Watson had a chance to get a second goal, through on goal 1-on-1. Unfortunately, he couldn't quite finish the game. We went on to win 1-0 anyway. And look at this form we had going through May. We had win, 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 draw, win. It was time for our first game in the US Open Cup. We went 1-0 down to Colorado, but Klaus, as always, was clinical in the box. Firmino finally scored a decent goal to put us 2-1 up. And it looked like he was finally about to show up in the MLS when he unleashed this shot from 35 yards straight into the top corner. He hasn't really shown his class this year, but if he scores a couple more like that, his transfer fee will absolutely be worth it. He's helped us win Manager of the Month, which absolutely is deserved because we are now top of our conference by quite a lot, 7 points. But bad news all of a sudden. 3 teams have met Klaus's release clause, including Manchester United. With all the fans ready to say goodbye, Klaus treated us to one last winning goal against New England Revolution, which would keep us first in the league, but unfortunately be the last time we would see João Klaus in a St. Louis shirt. We did of course have to replace him, and we went for Matthew Hopper from Middlesbrough. 7.2 million is a little bit of a rip-off, but we're going to put all our faith in him and put him straight into our starting 11 against Miami. When we got a penalty, of course, he was the only option to take it. Hopefully with finishing like that, we will have a serious chance at winning these playoffs. After we scrape past the New York Red Bulls on penalties in the semi-final of the US Open, we had 3 more league games before we were playing in a cup final for the first time this season. First of all, we win 1-0 after a late penalty. Against Charlotte, we got a 1-1, and then against Minnesota, it was a 0-0. A bad spell of form for us, but despite this, going into the cup final, we also were tied with the most points any team has ever got in one season, and we still had 4 games left to play. The countdown was over though, it was time for the US Open Cup final. So they beat New York FC, and we beat New York Red Bulls to get here. Could have been an all New York final. Matthew Harp out to Firmino, hits it with the wrong part of his boot really, curls away from goal. Matthew Harp again, can he get away from his man? He gets his shot off. Good save there from Edwards Jr., but it's going to be a corner. Corner comes in, we win it along the floor, and I think Bell is there. John Bell, centre back, probably the lowest rated player in the squad. He's tucked it in to put us 1-0 up. We've won the ball straight from one of their kickoffs. Harps into the box again. 1 minute after the first goal, we've scored a second goal. 2-0 up already after just 25 minutes. Shot comes. Oh, that's a good save from Berkey there. Right over the bar. Carles Hill gets the ball again. Heads it backwards. Berkey with another really good save there. Harp's doing a run. He's through one again. Can he finish the game? Outside the boot. 55 minutes in. 3-0 up. This is looking like it could be a demolition if we keep this up. Firmino, can he score? Off the crossbar to Watson. And then that's tipped over the bar. Look at this constant pressure. What a hit from Alm. He's already been booked though. He's going to be sent off. I'm not sure what he did wrong with that tackle. It was a big tackle, but I think he did get the ball. And Seferovic is through. It's going to bounce off Andre Gomez. Back to Seferovic. Probably only a consolation. And that's that. St. Louis have won the US Open Cup. Of course, not the one that we need to complete our Pentagon challenge, but we're still happy to win it nonetheless. Our second trophy after the Libertadores, because we didn't win another one in Brazil. And there we are lifting it. The fans are loving it, but we still, of course, want to win the MLS Cup, which is the bigger deal, but still nice to win a trophy on FIFA, of course. So with our season over, we finally knew who we were playing in the playoffs first round, and it was going to be LA Galaxy. It could have been an early goal there for LA Galaxy, but we could have equally have had one right here if Harp hadn't absolutely fluffed his lines. He would get through one-on-one though after 64 minutes, and this time he would know how to finish, calmly slotting it across, and that's the 1-0 win we needed to get through to the semi-finals. So now we've already crushed one half of LA with the LA Galaxy, now it's time to crush the other half by beating LAFC. Good chance here for Firmino, well saved there by the goalkeeper. A free kick from Sonora, hits the post and doesn't quite rebound to us, unfortunately. But another set piece, and this time Andre Gomez rises highest, heads it in, puts us 1-0 up, and not long after, we were put 2-0 up by Harp. Easy win in the end. They didn't really have too many chances except that one at the start, but all of a sudden we were in the playoff final. We were actually going to be playing this game in LA, so hopefully the home fans didn't care that we knocked out both teams from this city. You can see our fans supporting easports.com/FIFA, and hopefully the pre-match scenes would be exactly what happened. A nice tap-in from Matthew Harp would see us winning the MLS Cup. But let's have a look and see how we got on in the grand final, the match we need to win to complete the North American part of our Pentagon challenge, and the biggest game of our season by far. Of course, we're going to play our strongest lineup together. I like Firmino, I like Sonora, Watson's been really good this season, and Andre Gomez, of course, scoring a goal to put us here. Some good possession play here from New York Red Bulls, but good tackle there from Farrell. Absolute rock at the middle of this defense. Reyes gets the ball on the edge of the box, gives it to Morgan, the top scorer in the league. You can see why there. Great save from Berkey. Sonora gives it out to Harp. Can he cut inside? He can. Can he get the shot away? He can. A good save there from Coronel, though. Watson tries to find Harp, but he can't quite get there. That would have been a really good chance. Just before half-time now, and Morgan is through on goal. He slots it straight past Berkey, and all of a sudden, St. Louis are 1-0 down, and it's looking like Red Bull New York are probably the stronger team. So the 2-year-old MLS team is going in 1-0 down at half-time. 45 minutes to save the season, and it's not going to save it if they keep playing like that. Firmino, though, finds Harp. Harp has got a bit of pace here. Can he get away from his defender? Not with finishing like that. He's never going to score if he keeps hitting them like that. He really needs to redeem himself. The corner comes in, and Harp gets there straight into the corner. 1-1 equaliser. He missed the finish, but somehow it counted as a corner. He's absolutely redeemed himself. Firmino, he finds Harp again. He's through 1-on-1 yet again. Can he do better this time? No, he can't. That's probably even worse than before. Strong attack here. What a tackle from Andre Gomez, though, fully cutting out that attack. Gomez, the attacking midfielder now. He's found Watson. Watson's through 1-on-1. Can he hit the target? He can, but that's all he can do. He can't score, and it would have probably been the winner. Luquinhas now. He's got past Berkey, but the defender just about gets there. Sonora on the counter-attack after the corner. He's got someone in the middle. I think it's Bell, the centre-back. It is. Has it gone? He's just about scuffed it in. That's probably the worst finish and possibly the worst goal in any MLS Cup final. But it counts the same. From 1-0 down to 2-1 up, this team doesn't know how to die. It's been by far the best team in the MLS. And now they're ahead in the Cup final. Look at that rebound there. Hits it into the ground. It bounces up, hits him on the knee, and just finds itself going into the far corner. He kind of blocks off the goalkeeper. Could be a foul if there was VAR, but unfortunately for Red Bulls, absolutely no VAR in this game. Luquinhas now. Oh, Berkey's palmed it out for a corner. Are they going to send the goalkeeper up? Not yet. No goalkeeper coming up. Red Bulls get the corner in. Who's going to get there? Andre Gomez does, and then it's headed down into the ground. Well caught by Berkey. Copper can finish the game right now. Bounces up off the post. Can they get the rebound? No, they can't. Nealis defends it. But that's it. That's full time. And St. Louis are MLS champions. Matthew Hopper, of course, coming in and doing absolutely amazing. 14 goals in 16 games. John Bell, the substitute centre-back, running the length of the pitch and tapping it in off his own knee, kind of just in the corner. Not the best goal, but it's won the MLS Cup for St. Louis. And that also means Vitor Pereira now has 2 of the 5 Pentagon Challenge trophies won on FIFA 23. He's already got job offers from international clubs in Africa. He's already got European big-name clubs after him like Porto and Ajax. But he still needs to conquer Asia before he thinks about heading to Europe or doing the World Cup in 2026. Look how much this trophy means to these Americans. I think personally, I've kind of fallen in love with St. Louis and I might order a kit. If you're a St. Louis fan or a representative, make sure you reach out to me on email because I'm all about getting a good deal on a kit. It's time to head to Asia, taking over Korean team FC Seoul. They actually compete in the Asian Champions League this season, but as it takes place in June, we'll get 6 months to prepare for the tournament. Let's find out how we're going to be lining up. We're starting with a pretty cool squad. Our best 11 has 7 South Koreans, 2 Eastern Europeans and a Spaniard, and there's no reason to say the 4-4-2 formation can't give us a top 2 finish this season. But of course, ChatGPT isn't done yet. We have 2 other goals. One's to grow a Korean player to be 75 overall, and the other one is to find an African player with at least 88 potential. Now, 88 potential isn't super rare, so we'll be sending out our scouts to Nigeria, Ivory Coast, and putting one in South Korea. Take a look at this first month's set of reports. It's a real shame we'll be moving around because some of these players could become absolute Korean League legends. Maybe we'll see them in our World Cup squads come the Africa part of this challenge. But back to the present day, our defence was looking slightly too slow to complete and the club captain Osmar decided it was time to retire. So we splashed half of our £3 million budget on 37-year-old Ivan Marcono and Jo Jin Woo, and we instantly looked a lot more solid at the back. The majority of the rest of the budget was spent on young players who we can get over 75 overall for the challenge, but the most exciting signing was a 6'8" Serbian called Faisal Mulic. He goes straight into our starting 11 for the first game of the season, but to say it was a disappointing debut would undersell it. Missing chance after chance, finally on his 5th 1-on-1 he just about found the net, but that one goal he scored could have at least been 3. We got our draw for the Champions League group stage, including Cristiano Ronaldo's Al Nassr, but we still had a few games in the league we needed to play before that competition started. We started getting to a nice bit of form, saving penalties, scoring 1-on-1s, and being ready to work for the title according to the media. But all of a sudden, it was time for that first game of the season against Wuhan 3 Towns. These guys are by far the worst team in the group, but we are probably also the second worst team in the group, so it's going to be a hard game nonetheless. We had a few chances hitting the post before we got a 1-on-1 in the 69th minute. Ayesh found the corner, the Syrian winger, putting us 1-0 up, and we'd won our first game of the Asian Champions League. But next up, was this man's team. Cristiano Ronaldo, 40 years old at this point, and we went in early on him. We got him injured after just 4 minutes, breaking his toe. Mullich could have put us 1-0 up. Cho Jung-woo could have got a penalty there before Mullich turned, the shot going just wide. Ronaldo getting a chance from the 6-yard box, saved really well. If there's one player you don't want to be shooting from there, it's Ronaldo. But Al Ghanam would put Al Nassr 1-0 up after 74 minutes. Hwang would have a chance to equalise, but look at this. It bounces straight back to Hwang, and this time he doesn't miss. It's a goal that's really important for us because we don't want to be finishing third and going out in the group stage. In fact, we were actually first in the group stage, which is a really good position to be in. This was the easiest game of the group stage by far. We headed to Wuhan, we got an early 1-0 win, and that's basically the only attack they had. But this was the big news. Cristiano Ronaldo had still broken his toe from that game against us. He'd be missing, and we were playing Al Nassr. So this was going to be a massive chance for us to get another 3 points and basically qualify. The ball did go in the net there, but apparently it went out for a corner, and Mullich showed why he has so much strength. Putting 2 people on the floor, playing across to Pavlovic, and then the cross powered in by Jung-wook at the back post. Al Nassr would have a chance as well, but Gil would be more than equal to it, and we would be through to the quarter-finals, where we'd be playing Shandong from China. There were still ages until this game, nearly 2 months until the quarter-finals, so why don't we catch up and see how we're doing in the K-League. Well, this game against Seongnam went pretty decently. We hit the post, and Jung-wook would then fire us ahead before Palosevic would get a penalty straight in the top corner. It was going to be another win for FC Seoul. Korea's best team, Jeonbuk Hyundai, tried to steal our best striker, Hwang. Of course, they're in first place, and of course, they're playing us just 3 days after the transfer offer, but their strikers did well enough, and they beat us 1-0, so they don't really need our striker after all. So now it's finally time for the quarter-final game, playing against Sun Jun-ho, who of course is the top scorer in the AFC Champions League. We were going to have to be on our best defensively and attacking. Look at Mullich right here, just getting on the end of 2 chances, proving how much of a threat he can be. This was the real threat though. His positioning intercepts the pass, weird pass from the goalkeeper straight to him, and he puts us 1-0 up just before half time. Their top scorer managed to injure Marcano, which is a bit of a shame because he is our club captain. Hopefully he's not out for too long. We'd have a couple of other chances, this shot rolling just wide of the net, and Liu Bin would get a chance, well saved by Gil, catches the rebound. But this was the real talking point. This was given as a penalty. It's either outside the box or the lightest touch. I'm not really sure what's going on, but it doesn't matter because we saved the penalty anyway. What a performance this has been from Gil, but Mullich and Hwang have been just as good, and they've given us a 2-0 lead to take to China and try and rescue a place in the semi-finals of the AFC Champions League. I haven't seen anything we can really be threatened about by them so far, so we have a good chance now of getting through to the semi-finals. We got an early penalty, which was calmly panenkered into the top corner to put us 3-0 up on aggregate. They would have a chance right here, but that was again probably their best chance of the game. We nearly scored a really good overhead kick, but that was it. 3-0, we were through to the semi-finals. We were going to be playing the Urara Red Diamonds, a team that had beaten Jeonbuk, who of course are the best team from Korea, 4-4 in the quarter-finals. The Red Diamonds have got to the Champions League final on 3 occasions and won it in 2007 and 2017. So when we had chances like this from Hwang, we really did need to put them away because they have a bit of history in this competition. Jung-wook again went near post when he probably could have pulled it across. Carlson had a shot that went over the bar, but Dutchman Brian Linson would fire one into the back of the net right along the floor and put the Red Diamonds up 1-0. We would have to press and try and get a home goal here. When Hang So got through on goal, tried to go around the goalkeeper, I thought that was game over, but Mullich would get one last chance. He pulled it across and Hwang was there. The hero of the squad, the oldest man in the squad as well, and our star striker had brought us level at home, so that meant we were going to have to go to Japan and we were going to have to try and win. If we wanted to get through to the final, we had to beat the Red Diamonds at the Saitama Stadium. Sakine could have probably finished us off right there early on, but look at the threat that just having Mullich, even if he's injured, he's still not going to get beaten in the air. We had another chance here, volleyed straight at the goalkeeper before Jung-wook would get through one-on-one, this time finding the net. So we were 1-0 up, we just had to keep it here, and we were through to the final. Marcano would try and block a Linson shot, but unfortunately would catch him. Akimoto would step up, he would hit it to the left off the post into the back of the net, so this was going to extra time. we had our first chance in extra time with Hwang, a massive touch one-on-one on the goalkeeper. He pulls it back, and there's no way that Willian is missing that. We haven't got time for a big celebration, we want another one. Hwang would leap highest from the corner, and yet again Hwang had saved the day and put us 3-1 up, and we had the chance to avenge the 2013 Asian Champions League final, where FC Seoul actually lost on away goals. It was just a one-leg knockout this time instead of a two-leg one like it was back then, but with Ivan Marcano deciding this was probably going to be his last chance at winning a trophy, the captain had everything to play for. Al Duhail had a few well-known players from Europe, Adlen Guediora, probably the most well-known of them, but I don't think the rest of their squad's really that scary. I think the Red Diamonds, and I think Jeonbuk, if they had made it to the final instead of Al Duhail, would have been a much tougher final. So we were going into this one fairly confident. Na Sang-ho would get a cross in, Mulic would head it straight at the goalkeeper again, a decent chance he probably could have scored from. Cohen would play it to Olunga, but well saved by Gil, making a habit of making those good saves. Mulic would get through one-on-one, and this time, unlike that first game of the season, he would get one chance and score his one goal. Celebrating with a very uncharacteristic flip, you see how much it meant to him and the entire team. Halosevic tried to pull one across to Mulic, but it didn't quite have enough gas on it, so it didn't quite make it to him. Chung-wook would play it through to Mulic yet again, but not so good on this occasion. You might be wondering where all the Al Duhail chances are. Well, that was probably their best one of the second half. When you could see how easy it was for us to make it, just due to the amount of pace and strength we had compared to them, Ayesh ran basically the length of the pitch. It would have been such a good goal if that had found the top corner. Finally, Al Duhail did start to threaten. Cohen got a volley in. The ball nearly fell to them, but it was well blocked by Han Chi-hee, and we would have the chance to finish the game just by passing it round the goalkeeper yet again. Another pullback goal, but who cares? We've now won the Asian Champions League. Not as dramatic as some of the other finals, and probably the easiest of the three to win, just sheerly because of the quality of the teams in the competition. We had a fairly good team here. We got one of our players up to 75 overall, and we did find a couple of Africans. We just didn't really have enough time to really promote them and get them back into the squad. So we did have a really nice squad. I really enjoyed using FC Seoul, and I'm glad I finally got them an AFC Champions League, especially after how they lost the last one on away goals. That's got to be such a tough way to take a defeat. But there we are. We've lifted the trophy, and FC Seoul have a Champions League. And Vitor Pereira now has an MLS. He has a Copa Libertadores and an Asian Champions League. So next up is Europe, of course, for Champions Leagues, which is the final Champions League. But we do also have the World Cup with an African team. Well, it looks like Nigeria has triumphed over Morocco and Burkina Faso. So let's find out how we're going to be lining up for the 2026 USA World Cup. I really love this squad. The standout, of course, is Osimhen, but there is pace and power in every position. You might be wondering when we even got offered the Nigeria job. Well, we actually accepted it while we were still managing at St. Louis. This means we've been in charge of the team for nearly 2 years. We've played a couple of games here and there, including this one against Germany, which was actually our first match in charge. We do have a really good squad. Osimhen is like the third best striker in the game after Mbappe and Haaland, 90 rated now with 98 sprint speed and 97 acceleration. His finishing's really good as well. His strength's 91. He's basically the perfect all-around striker. We have a very physical team, and we're probably the most physical team in Africa, but we were going to be starting our World Cup campaign against probably the most physical team in Europe, Serbia. You've seen Milinkovic-Savic right there. We've got Vlahovic up front. Kostic on the wing can run and run. It's just an all-round very physical squad, so we're going to have to be our best if we're going to win this one. You can see Osimhen and Chukwueze, these are going to be huge players, but Calvin Bassey at the back is going to be just as important. Look at that flick on there from Osimhen to open the scoring. We like getting our midfielders past our strikers, and you can see why when Onyedika is scoring shots like that. Onyedika's on the ball again right here, pulled it across to Osimhen, but look at this dribbling. For a 6'2" target man, he's basically impossible to get the ball off. Okoye is a pretty underrated goalkeeper as well. He's only 77 overall, but he's one of the best I've used on this FIFA. Calvin Bassey yet again being an absolute boss, and Osimhen yet again scoring a good goal. So that's 2 already after 48 minutes in this World Cup. He's probably going for the golden boot, let's be honest. He is about that Harry Kane level where he's the main man in the team and he can actually score a ton of goals. Serbia would, of course, threaten. Kostic with a volley there could have gone in. But look at that touch from Osimhen to pass it through to Dennis. And Dennis isn't going to miss a one-on-one like that. Flicked it round the corner. Nothing that the Serbian defenders can do there. And we just had too much pace. We made it 4-0 with yet another brilliant shot from Osimhen, this time flicking it off the outside of his boot into the corner. But there was still time for Serbia to score, and a really unfortunate defensive mistake there saw Maksimovic rise highest and score a header. But at 4-1, we're not going to complain when we didn't even qualify for the last World Cup. Our toughest game of the group stage was definitely this one against Brazil. No other strikers managed to score 2 goals in their first game, so Osimhen goes straight in as the top scorer. But it was going to be really early on that we saw a familiar face. You might remember Pedro, who scored the winning goal in our Copa Libertadores final, but we injured Gabriel Jesus so early on that he came on after just 3 minutes. Look at the press that we were getting from Brazil right here. They were forcing us into mistakes. We weren't making any shots. We could barely make a pass, and you could just see how much better Brazil were than Serbia. We got a nice chance here, though Osimhen not quite being fast enough. Maybe if he was 99 pace, we score there. On the Adika proved that he is actually a defensive midfielder and not a box-to-box midfielder. But Matthias Franke could have put Brazil ahead not only once there, but also twice here. I'm not sure if he was offside, but it was yet another good save from Okoye. Taiwo Awoniyi would play through Osimhen and he would actually put the ball in the back of the net. But somehow it was just offside, very marginal decision, but Awoniyi would get through yet again. And this time, there'd be no need for VAR, no need for offside. Against the favourites, Awoniyi would run through and in front of the Brazil fans, look at their disgust right there. He would put Nigeria 1-0 up and top of their group. Now, winning the group probably wasn't that important because we were going to be playing whoever finished second out of France and Italy, so it was always going to be a tough game. But we did basically end any chance Brazil had of winning the tournament because we knocked Jesus out for 2 months. So that's the group we'll be playing second place in, and that's our group. So you can see we're very much in the commanding position. We decided to rest basically all of our good players. So Osimhen was on the bench, replaced by Moffi. We had Awoniyi in for Dennis. We had basically our entire defense was changed for second choice. But we were still making chance after chance. This formation seems to really work. Paraguay would do something that Brazil couldn't though, and Sebas would put them 1-0 up. Him and Almiron were linking up really well, and it really could have been 2-0 right there just before half-time. So we went a little bit more attacking. We did want to win our group, even though it didn't matter too much. We nearly got a penalty right there, and Awoniyi would equalise in the 49th minute. A really good finish. I'm really enjoying using Taiwo Awoniyi. Another good save from Okoye kept it 2-1, and finally, it was time for our good players to come on. Unfortunately, Awoniyi did get injured. He was a massive part of why we were playing well recently. Him at left wing and Osimhen right here doing finishes like that. It's a very physical and very dangerous combination. Something dangerous that Paraguay did though was they put their goalkeeper up front and put a defender in goal. I have absolutely no idea why they did this. It did nearly work because the goalkeeper did nearly score right there. But they were so good at getting their foot in the way or just blocking shots, we didn't actually get a shot in against their 5'6" goalkeeper. But still, we'd win the game 2-1 despite their unusual tactics. This meant we were going to be playing Italy in the round of 16. Berardi, Keane and Chiesa might not be as good as some of the front threes they've put out there in the past, but it was still going to be dangerous, and it was probably the first time that a team would have a faster attack than our defense. With 80 pace all throughout our defense, we were going to have to keep an eye on them to make sure they couldn't counter on us, and we were still in charge. Osimhen did some nice touches right there. The ball fell to Dennis, and unfortunately he hit it instead of Osimhen, well wide of the goal. Chukwueze is by far our best creative player, and he tried a nice creative shot right there outside the boot, nearly found the top corner, but Donnarumma is always saving that. We tried long shots every now and then just to see if we could get one of those World Cup special goals that always seems to go in, but it was Moise Kean who would score the first goal in this game. He put them 1-0 up. He just found that space between our goalkeeper's knee and our goalkeeper's elbow, found the back of the net, and Italy were in charge in this one. But of course, we have a lot of players who play in Italy, like Osimhen right here. He could have equalized it, honestly. He probably should have done one-on-one with his stats, but unfortunately for us, he couldn't quite do it. The corner header came in, another really good save from Donnarumma. This time, Osimhen would get through one-on-one, and this time, he would find the back of the net. So with an hour gone, it was shaping up to be a really nice match, 1-1 between Italy and Nigeria. Daniel Calabria would find Barella, good save from Okoye, how many times have we said that already, and Moise Kean couldn't quite get away from our defender. Osimhen again proving how important his pace is, but the ball wouldn't quite rebound for us. Before Chukwueze would play this through to Dennis, his volley would have been absolutely spectacular in the last minute, but this is going to extra time. Both teams would have an early chance, that one from Moise Kean and this one from Ademola Lookman, who would play through Onyeka. With Osimhen easily in position to cut it back to, there was only one option, he needed to guarantee the goal. 95 minutes, Nigeria 2, Italy 1. Osimhen with yet another goal. I believe that's his 5th of the tournament, but you did have the feeling there was probably at least one more goal in this game. Italy were playing really good football. I mean, Moise Kean yet again one-on-one, couldn't quite finish it off, but Ademola Lookman could. When he went round Donnarumma, he was only ever going to score into the open net, and that would mean Nigeria were 3-1 up, and that would mean Nigeria are through to the quarterfinals. They'd be playing in the LA Galaxy Stadium against Turkey. So it's going to be a really big match, and if we could win this somehow, we'd be playing against England or Argentina in the semi-final. Two teams who are very weak against our physical style of play, so we had a real good chance if we could get through this one. Turkey would have a decent couple of chances. They had Enes Ünal up front, who we managed to smash early on. We have Dennis up front for us, of course, and he doesn't seem like he's very good at finishing on this year's game. Osimhen, of course, is though, and yet again, he scores an offside header. This is very annoying because that would have been his 7th goal of the tournament, and it probably would have made things a lot more secure for us. Osimhen really could have scored that one. He scored harder in this tournament already before Enes Ünal did a few ball rolls, found Kochu, and of course the rebound would fall to Ridvan. He's in the team of the tournament already, and goals like that is just going to secure his place. An injured Chukwueze really could have scored again off the post and bounced out, so we did sub him off for Lookman, who had a really good game in the last match. With no Awoniyi to bring on at left wing, we tried Mofi, and he nearly found Osimhen, which probably would have gone in if he had connected with his header, but we were on all-out attack right now. Nigeria wanted a goal, and Onyeka getting into the box, dragging his shot wide. Joe Aribo would power forwards with just 1 minute to go. He had 2 men in the middle. He would find Osimhen, the exact man you want, but that's not the finish he would ever want. And that basically meant this shot was their last chance Nigeria had of staying in the World Cup. So this means that is Nigeria out of the 2026 World Cup. Of course, we will get at least 2 other goes in 2030, which is being hosted in England on this save, and 2034. So that means we'll have to use one of those 2 chances to win the competition if we want to compete the Pentagon Challenge. Looks like it's time to take on the Champions League, and we'll be doing it with Fiorentina. A really cool team to be given. There's so much history, talent, and ambition at this club, so it's going to be a super fun journey. Let's find out how we're going to be lining up. Well, it looks like the squad is all about 2 very different men. First, we have 41-year-old legend Giorgio Chiellini returning to one of his first teams. The other is 20-year-old Fabio Vitali, recently signed from Serie B for 19 million, trying to impress his new fans. Of course, both started in our first game, with Chiellini scoring this goal, and Vitali with a top quality curled finish. But wait, I've not actually told you about our position in the league. We're one of 6 massive Italian clubs hunting for 5 European places. Of course, because we need to be in the Champions League next season, we need to finish at least 4th, but we only have 19 games to overtake the likes of Roma, Napoli and AC Milan. Because we took over on the 1st of January, we were going to try and go unbeaten for this first month with games against Genoa, Sampdoria, Lazio and Modena. The whole time we were also trying to learn the squad, trying to figure out if Arthur Cabal is a better striker than Luka Jovic, see if Chiellini still has it despite 33 pace. And you can see that things got off to a really good start. We beat Lazio, we beat Modena, we beat Genoa, and also we started developing our players and finding new ones that could potentially be even better. This is a massive part of what we want to do at Fiorentina, not only win the Champions League but also set this club up for years to come. and there's a reason people started calling Vitali the new Chiesa after just 5 games. His dribbling, his finishing and his pace are already world class. He just needs to work on some of his passing and his crossing aspects, and then he can be just as good. We did lose Antonin Barak to Manchester United, but our final match of the season was a must-win against Roma, of course one of the best teams in the league. We had to beat them, and we just about did. This meant we qualified for the Champions League 1 point ahead of Napoli, Lazio in 6th and Roma in 7th. With a new season starting, new kits and even a new stadium, this was going to be an absolutely massive year for Fiorentina. If we wanted to sell out our massive new stadium, we needed a big name. We went for one of the biggest in Italian football, Matteo Retegui, a £41 million signing from Boca Juniors. The 27-year-old Italian striker comes straight in at 85 overall. We will be selling Cabral probably to help afford this, but the sale of Cacaret to Real Madrid meant we had money to rebuild this midfield. Marco Verratti joined on loan. To add a bit of physicality and height, we also signed Ivan Ilsic from Hellas Verona, and Fiorentina's 1998-99 sponsor returned, with Nintendo sponsoring La Viola for this season. Of course, all our new signings go straight into the first 11. It seemed like last season had barely ended and we were already starting this one. So a game against Monza, it was important for our new signings to get off on the right foot. And it was a really good foot here for Retegui as he smashed his foot into the ball and slotted it into the back of the net. 30 minutes on his debut, his first goal. 40 minutes on his debut, his second goal. Verratti in midfield is exactly what you want in a midfielder, and Retegui up front is exactly what you want in a striker. This combination is going to score us a ton of goals, even if Verratti maybe doesn't have the best stamina. We were going to need both of them to be on top form after we got drawn in one of the hardest Champions League groups possible. Bayern Munich, Manchester United, Athens we could probably beat both legs, so we're going to need the entire team to step up in these big games. Thankfully though, before the Champions League, we had a run of form against some of the easier teams in the league, and we absolutely smashed all of them. Even better, our first game of the group stage was against the weakest team in the group, so we had a real chance of getting points on the board in game week 1. I don't know if it was the Tifo that put off Athens, but they made a huge mistake with Carrasco, our right back, winning the ball, the rebound falling to him, and him putting us 1-0 up after just 4 minutes. Nicolas Gonzalez would chip the goalkeeper, put us 2-0 up, and that's how the game would end. So early in the season, 3 points in the Champions League, doing really well in the league, and then this massive offer from Olympiacos for our second choice striker. Things were going so well for us heading into this game at Old Trafford. With Bayern Munich's squad being so amazing, we really had to get as many points as we could out of these games against Man United. Retegui's header would put us 1-0 up after 54 minutes, and only 2 minutes later, Carrasco's cross would be volleyed in through the legs of David De Gea. We were 2-0 up. 2 goals in 2 minutes, and Manchester United wouldn't really have too much threat. A few long shots here and there. We won the game, we secured the 2-0 win, and this meant that both us and Bayern Munich were on 6 points, and we were playing them at home with Baggio's Tifo looking down on us and hoping to get first place in this group, and it got off to a really good start. A pass from Retegui found Vitali, his 21st birthday celebrated with a little chicken dance. Here's what the fans would see in the crowd as the ball was brought across, Neuer slipped, and it's an easy goal really in the end. But of course, don't count out Bayern Munich. They have a really insane squad with a bunch of 90 rated players, including Jonathan David. He would do our defender and slot it into the far corner. Just a few minutes later, Adli would play it across to him, and this time we were the victim of 2 goals in 2 minutes. For the rest of the game, it just didn't seem like it was our day. Shots being ricocheted, shots being palmed out by Neuer. It was just one of those games where you really had to confirm the ball had no choice except go in the net like we did in our first goal. But with our last chance of the game, Retegui would get through one-on-one, who tried and chip the goalkeeper and fire it into the side netting. We did have more shots than Bayern Munich, they scored both of their efforts, but this just meant we were more fired up for the away match at the Allianz Arena. Of course, we already knew who all their danger men were. They had Adli and David up front, and we had to be on top form with Chiellini and Esposito both saving goals early on. When our fullback hit the crossbar right there, Ait Nouri, we thought we were in with a chance of winning. Carrasco, our other fullback, got a nice cross in. We couldn't quite get a head on it, but Manuel Neuer caught it. But Vitali did some trickery that we were expecting of him when we bought him, pulled it straight back across, and Mandragora managed to get the goal. The lead didn't last for too long though, as just 2 minutes before the end, Goretzka would somehow bundle a ball past our goalkeeper. In the end, it would actually count as an own goal, and we would get a 1-1 with Bayern Munich. That meant that if we could go to Athens and get a win, no matter what Manchester United did against Bayern Munich, win, lose or draw, we were through to the knockout round. When Retegui got through 1-on-1, we all knew what was going to happen. He put us 1-0 up. We've only played 20 games this season and Retegui is already on 12 goals. What an upgrade he's been on someone like Arthur Cabral. We had a bunch of other chances, but it wasn't until 1 minute into extra time when we secured the win, Luka Jovic letting the ball run across him, and it guaranteed us a round of 16 game against PSG. It couldn't really get too much harder for us, so we did have to invest a ton of that money we got for selling our backup striker into a much better goalkeeper, and it paid off instantly in the first game against Juventus. Karnaseki did 2 brilliant saves, we got a penalty in the 70th minute which we managed to score, and that gave us the win against rivals Juventus. We then sold 2 other players, Igor and Kwame, and we spent the money on this guy, Xavi Calderon, a 6'6" Spanish centre-back who was playing for Nottingham Forest. We would need our entire defence to be on top form, because while we were playing some Serie A games right now, there was only one match that was on our mind, this one against PSG. With Kylian Mbappe up front, 95 rated with 99 pace, we were going to have to be on the top of our game. Sergio Ramos was by far the weakest player in their team. With 30 pace, he was basically their version of Chiellini because he is about 40 years old in this save. But of course, Kylian Mbappe can do things like that, and there is nothing you can do when you're giving away free kicks 40 metres out and they're scoring from them. Fabian scored a pullback goal and put PSG 2-0 up at Fiorentina, but we never know when to quit. Sensi came off the bench, good pass from Retegui, played him in, and that was 2-1. A long-range effort right there, could easily have found the top corner, and PSG weren't messing around when they brought on Lionel Messi. But we took full advantage of that Sergio Ramos lack of pace, Luka Jovic outpacing the entire defence, holding off Marquinhos, and we were going to be going to Paris with a tie, so a single goal in Paris would see us going through to the quarterfinals. We tried to get this goal as early as possible with 2 shots there that really could have gone in. We were definitely focusing more on attack than defence, and PSG equally could have scored. We do like to have our midfielders taking shots, and Ilicic was a good example of it right there, but Retegui's the one we want on the end of every one-on-one. Just look at that finish, absolutely no danger of him missing that. Even Donnarumma can't get a touch on that before this decision from the referee. I'm not really sure how that was a free kick, and Carlos Soler would step up and do what Mbappe did in the first leg, another unsavable free kick. Verratti easily could have put us ahead there after 53 minutes. Retegui could have done the same, but both Italian goalkeepers were proven to be on absolute top form. Ours saving from Mbappe with just 5 minutes in the game to go, and this one was going straight to extra time. In fact, it was actually going one stage further than that as well, because this game was actually going straight to penalties. With the entire season of Fiorentina basically resting on a few coin flips, basically anyone who would put money on the game would be putting it on PSG at this stage. Ramos stepping up, taking a penalty, of course, a bit of a legend right there. Ikone taking one for us. Leonardo getting one saved right there. First leg hero Sensi steps up and scores his. Messi, of course, coolly slots it into the other side of the goal. Jovic steps up next. Top corner, absolutely unsavable. Bayer comes across into the back of the net. If Koke scores, we win, and it's saved by Donnarumma. Hakimi up next, saved by Karnaseki, and that means Cardoso wins the penalty shootout, and we're through into the quarterfinals, where we'll be playing against fellow Italian team Juventus. But for this young man to hold his nerve that well shows how good of a prospect he really is. Some interesting teams in this stage, but the match itself wasn't interesting at all. This shot here from Retegui was basically all that happened in the first leg. Moise Kean tried to audaciously chip the goalkeeper from miles out. Vlahovic had a penalty saved after half an hour, and then Vitali showed them all how it's done by hitting this shot one-on-one into the side netting. Literally nothing else happened in either leg except for that goal basically, so we were through to the semi-finals of the Champions League. A super boring game, really anticlimactic seeing the two best Italian teams playing each other, and we were going to be playing against a team that had Ben Brereton Diaz up front. When we've already played against unbeaten PSG, we weren't really too nervous about playing this Dortmund team. In fact, the first leg, the home leg, we got a penalty after 88 minutes. Of course, Gonzalez stepped up and scored. He's been our penalty specialist this year. How many has he scored in the league? We didn't need long to actually score another penalty in the second leg. Gonzalez again going the other way this time. Adeyemi threatened to make the game interesting with this goal after 19 minutes, but this free kick was as close as Dortmund would get to having a second goal. That was as close as we would get to having a second goal as well, but with the first leg advantage, that meant we were through to the Champions League final where we would be playing against Barcelona, who'd beaten Real Madrid 5-4 on aggregate. So you knew their team had serious goals in it, and we would be heading back to Germany to Gelsenkirchen for a game at the Schalke Stadium. So it all comes down to this: will we be doing a second episode playing in the Champions League just like we are the World Cup, or will we win this one match and win our third continental tournament? We're about to find out, so hopefully you enjoy this game as much as I did playing it. We can't give them too much time on the ball. Yeah, getting stuck in there. Calderon, great tackle. I mean, they brought a lot of fans, but I think we've probably injured Fati. Pedri, oh, not again. I thought he was going to do an Mbappe and get it straight in the top corner. Good catch there from Karnaseki. Retegui's through, one-on-one. Good save from ter Stegen. He must be getting on a bit now, ter Stegen. Good win there from Ait Nouri. He's got Retegui. Can he turn? He turns, cuts inside, get the shot off. Oh, it's gone just wide. Good effort, though. Ansu Fati's done us right there. Lewandowski back to Fati. Chiellini's been done. Kessié, out Nouri. Oh, Rafinha's run into the ball. And it's 1-0 to Barcelona in the Champions League final. Cardoso finds Ilicic. Can he get it out wide? Gonzalez back to Ilicic. Yes, curl it in. Oh, far corner. What a finish. Brilliant finish that. Ilicic, good finishing stats for a centre mid. Really enjoy using him. Gonzalez again. Oh, it's a miss hit. But it's gone to Retegui. Back to Ilicic. Oh, my God. Just like that game against Bayern Munich, we've scored 2 goals in 2 minutes and totally turned the game around. Even more important, of course, because it is the final. Ilicic, what a player. Gavi's got the ball right now. Pedri, is he going to dribble it? Lewandowski, what a save from point blank on one of the best strikers on the game. We absolutely need to go defensive right now. Calderon out to Ait Nouri. Can we do anything? No, let's just cycle the ball around the back a little bit. Verratti going forwards now. Ilicic, the man on a hat-trick. Cardoso out to Ait Nouri. Ball roll back to Cardoso. He's got Verratti on the edge of the box. Good place to have him. Can he get the shot off? Just wide. It could have gone in off Araujo's foot there, though. Verratti getting stuck in. We've got 15 minutes now we need to hold on. Ferran Torres dribbling it out wide. They seem to like doing that. Koundé at right back to Gavi. To Lewandowski. To Fati. What a save. Yes, get in. And that's it. We've managed to win the Champions League final in our first Champions League season with Fiorentina. Let me tell you right now, this was absolutely not the plan. I thought this was going to take a full rebuild year this year, and in our second season, we would be going deep into this tournament. We got lucky against PSG, winning on penalties. We got an easier draw than we probably should have had there, with Juventus being super boring to play against and playing some of their worst players for some reason. And then Borussia Dortmund with Ben Brereton Diaz, a 78 rated striker up front in the semi-finals of the Champions League. It wasn't really a threat, but somehow we have managed to win the Champions League. This Barcelona game, by the way, by far the hardest game of FIFA I've ever played. They were doing things with the ball that I don't think I actually have any idea how you do it. And there is Chiellini lifting the Champions League, meaning we only have one more thing we have to win. Some breaking news just in. Spain, Portugal and Morocco will be hosting the 2030 World Cup after coming from behind to shock massive favourites Uruguay and Argentina in the final round of voting. All 3 teams will be guaranteed a group stage spot, with Morocco also announcing massive investment into youth to secure their place in the bid. With Nigeria hoping to go far next year in 2026, this could be a really exciting time for African football. With host cities including Madrid, Lisbon and Casablanca, I'm sure the 2030 World Cup will be one to remember. That's right, it's time for a second attempt at winning the World Cup for our Pentagon Challenge. I'm sure you know the process by now, but we've won all 3 Champions Leagues and the MLS, so the World Cup is the only thing standing in our way and completing this challenge. We're going to be going hard for this tournament. For the 3 seasons since we won the Champions League, we've been managing with Real Madrid with the goal of bringing through as many Spanish, Portuguese and Moroccan players as possible, with the end goal of winning this 2030 World Cup on home soil. So let's head straight to the training pitch and introduce some of our squad. Starting with the most important members of our squad, we have, of course, Achraf Hakimi. He's now 32 years old and he'll be captaining our squad. We also have Kassim Ibrahim, who plays like a young Mohamed Salah on the right wing. And finally, we have the defensive rock himself, Mustafa Hassan, stopping every shot that goes on target. While we have actually picked the nation we're going to be using today, I did rely on ChatGPT to choose our formation and tactics. I asked it for an iconic tactic, and we definitely got one. The first team we were going to be unleashing our tiki-taka on was going to be Brazil, a squad that was made up of a lot of youth players from our time back when we were Flamengo manager. There was still a few big names from real life in there too, like Vinicius Jr. and Rodrigo both starting on the wings, but we had our own big names, Hakimi, Ali and Ibrahim. They were all in the starting 11 for this opening match of the 2030 World Cup. We had players like Uhani, of course, Ahmed in midfield bossing it. With passes like that early on, El Nesri tried something absolutely special. That would have been a ridiculous goal. Hassan showed exactly what he's all about, a really tough challenge, winning the ball too. We had a couple of chances where maybe we could have had better finishing from our midfielders, but they're not in the team to finish chances, they're in the team to create chances. With passes like that out to our fullback, Ahmed would get the ball turned, play it to El Nesri. Him on the turn, he couldn't quite get the ball in the back of the net, but we were making so many chances. El Nesri to Louza out to Ibrahim. His shot again really should be on target. That's a really bad shot from Ibrahim. Header back across to Uhani. He's on the volley. Oh my god, he's managed to find the side netting. A nice curled volley. Questionable celebration, but you know, maybe he's just happy to be playing at home. But still, look at the technique on that to blast it past the Brazilian goalkeeper. Ali to Louza. His shot's on target this time. They are getting better at shooting Morocco, but unfortunately still 1-0. Hakimi down the wing, pulls it back to Ali. Ali's shot, and then the deflection, and then the rebound. Militao just getting a foot in the way. Ibrahim's chip can't quite finish off the game, but it's going to be 1-0, and Morocco have won their first game of the 2030 group stage. This is the only match of the group stage they'll be playing at home, the other two both being played in Spain, but still, that was a tough performance. They absolutely dominated Brazil on shots, passing and possession. And Hassan also fired some warning shots to every striker in the tournament. If you want to get past him, you're going to get a broken ankle. Anyway, Denmark were the next team to play against Morocco. Technically a home game for Denmark. I'm not too sure why, but look at this passing from Morocco. The ball's found Ali. It's ricocheted up, but he's found the net. Past the goalkeeper, 1-0 up after just 7 minutes. Denmark, of course, not going to be as good as Brazil. So the 2-0 lead after 24 minutes made us feel pretty comfortable about getting the win in this one. Of course, the big danger for Denmark is going to be Rasmus Højlund, but his only real shot was that, a chip that was offside anyway, but it was saved by our goalkeeper. This is what we want to see though. Slick passing, finding Unahi. He's through one-on-one. It should be 3-0, but unfortunately, it's going to stay 2-0. And it's not going to stay 2-0 for too much longer though, because this cross found the back of the net Bidstrup with a decent header, and we were seriously worried for 15 minutes, but thankfully, we just about kept the win. And we'd go on to beat Ivory Coast too. It was a 1-0 win. We'd rotated our squad, but suddenly we were through to the round of 16 against a pretty weak Wales side. Look at these two teams. We have a lot more pace, a lot more strength, a lot of a younger team as well. And if we can beat Wales, we're guaranteed a game against either Italy or Hungary. So it was going to be a pretty decent matchup either way. But early on, Ibrahim would win the ball back, cuts inside, and just like Mohamed Salah used to do for Liverpool a decade ago, would find the side netting. Hakimi would beat Brennan Johnson. Louza would give it to Unahi. Ahmed back to Louza. Louza to Ali, back to Louza. Finds Hakimi out on the wing. It's been deflected and it's fallen to a Morocco striker. 2-0. Ibrahim now outside the box. Oh god, that is such a good finish. No wonder he's celebrating. Take the salute, take the applause. That's by far the best goal we've scored in this tournament so far. Ibrahim, the goal scorer, finds Hakimi. His cross goes straight in over the goalkeeper. That's definitely a cross. That's not a shot, but he'll probably claim it was. It's a 4-0 lead now for Morocco in the first half. This could be a demolition. Good defending there from Hassan. The goalkeeper was beaten, but, you know, just about kept the ball out of his own goal, keeping the clean sheet. Ibrahim, back heel now to Saeed. Saeed to Ali. Oh, it could have been a goal again. Ali on the wing. Can he pull it back? He can. Amraoui, the ball's going to deflect. Savage is Wales counter-attack on now. No, the press from Morocco is too good. Ali, the striker Ali that is, not the winger, goes on to celebrate, and that's going to be a 5-1 win for Morocco. There was a late goal for Wales, but, you know, not too important in the scheme of things. And that meant we are rewarded with a game against Italy. Of course, we did play against these when we were manager of Nigeria, so we knew what we needed to do. You have to be physical, you have to look out for Moise Kean's dribbling, and you have to try and score as many goals early on because they do have a lot of stamina. Well, Chiesa would put them 1-0 up, and they had a serious chance of going 2-0 up right here. Cancelleri getting saved well by Ali in goal, but after half an hour, it's finally time for some attacks of our own. Ahmed being so unselfish with a perfectly weighted back heel to Lauza to make us equalise. Our press worked really well again here. Our left back got forwards, got the cross in. Ali jumped highest, but it would bounce just wide of the post. Hassan would be dedicated on keeping the ball out, keeping it 1-1 at the other end. What a legend he's turning out to be for Morocco. Ali out to Hakimi. He's got Ibrahim in the middle. His shot can't quite beat Donnarumma. And again, it's Ali through one-on-one. He's going to chip it over Donnarumma, and he's found the top corner. The question is, are Morocco going to go for a third goal, or are they going to try and defend the 1-goal lead? Well, knowing Morocco, we're going to be going for another goal, of course. Going still, full-out attack. Ibrahim with the skills out wide. Hakimi pulls it back to the edge of the box, and that shot, good shot, on target, but well saved by Donnarumma. Italy corner comes in, and they're right back with the overhead kick. That would have been absolutely spectacular of an equaliser, but it's looking like it's all Morocco right now. The next goal scorer is probably going to be someone like Ibrahim, but not with shots like that. Out to the fullback though, he can't quite keep it in. And Morocco really needed to clear the ball there, but Keane's got it. Hassan wins it back, but can't get rid of it. Raspadori puts him on the floor, and with 1 minute beyond what the referee said would be extra time, it's going to be a 2-2 equaliser for Italy. Raspadori there with the equalising goal. And not long into extra time, he would get the goal that would put them ahead. So 5 minutes into extra time, and it's all uphill now for Morocco. They needed a goal ASAP. El Nesri would get through one-on-one, and he would find that goal. So with 100 minutes gone, it's 3-3, and after 120 minutes, it would still be 3-3, which of course only meant one thing: a penalty shootout. In this challenge, we have a pretty good record with penalty shootouts, so let's hope it extends to this game as well. 1-1 already, so that's 2 goals, 1 goal for each team. Raspadori, of course, scored twice in normal time and his penalty. Attacking midfielder Saeed gets the ball into the back of the net. Ravella went down the middle, and we did stay there, but we couldn't quite get a hand on it. Ibrahim would score a nice goal into the top corner. 4-3 after Noto scores his. And Nesri would put his in the top corner, unsavable penalty. Tommaso Baldanzi would step up, and it would be saved by Ali, which meant all the pressure right now was on Morocco. You could see the stands were actually shaking because the fans were so nervous. Saeed would step up, goes top corner, Donnarumma doesn't even dive, and that's going to be a 5-4 penalty win for Morocco, meaning they are through to the semi-finals of the World Cup, where they would be playing against Netherlands. So this is another team that's never won the World Cup. Of course, Morocco did get this far in the 2022 World Cup, and players like Hakimi and En-Nesyri, they have experience of what it's like to lose in the semi-final, so they'll definitely be sharing with some of the younger members of this team, trying to get them into that final so they have a real chance of winning the World Cup. This is going to be one of the most important battles. Gakpo, 88 rated versus Hakimi, 87 rated, and Hakimi has already been booked. Header comes in, it's parried across the goal, it's going to fall back to the Morocco though on the edge of the box, and the shot's blocked. Decent start that for Morocco. Loser, he finds Ibrahim, finds Hakimi, gets his shot off, palm just wide, could have been a goal for sure. So that's going to be 0-0 at halftime. Both teams making lots of mistakes on the ball, both obviously looking very nervous. Ali out the wing, can he pull it back? He goes for the chip rather than a pass along the floor. Needed a bit more composure, I think. De Jong finds Xavi Simons, and that's gone over the bar. Could have found the top corner very easily. Hakimi finds Ali. Ali to Ali. It's going to rebound though to Unahi. And are Holland going to get away with it? Yes, they are. Netherlands clear the ball. Malacia tries a bit of skill, but he's run straight into Ibrahim. He's got a runner in front of him. Is he going to find it? He's going to go alone. A long shot saved just wide by Verbruggen. Good save that. So just a few minutes left in the game right now. And Frankie de Jong, he's through 1-on-1. Big mistake there from Hassan. Can he score? Oh, he's missed the post by about 2 inches. What a disaster that is for the Netherlands. And that is going to mean this game is going to extra time at 0-0. Really boring extra time so far, no real chances, but chance here for Morocco. Ali gets the ball, goes around the player, plays it along the floor this time, and En-Nesyri finds the net. It's 1-0 to Morocco with 1 minute of extra time going. They thought it was going to go to penalties again, but they have found that breakthrough goal in literally the last minute of the game. Morocco fans absolutely loving this because, of course, the game taking place in Morocco. And it looks like there's going to be one last Netherlands attack. Can they weather the storm? Kawani gets the ball, finds Ali. He's just going to hit it as far as he can. And Morocco are through to their first ever FIFA World Cup final. The first African team to ever play in a FIFA World Cup final. And we're about to find out who they will be playing. Some big names knocked out already, like Argentina and Spain, the other hosts being knocked out, which means it's going to be Morocco versus Belgium in the FIFA World Cup final. Just looking at the squad, it's not actually that worrying to face this kind of Belgium team. I'd say Brazil and Italy both had better squads, and we played them ages ago in the tournament. One thing we should be worried about, though, is Belgium played both Portugal and Spain, the two other hosts, on the route to the final and beat both. So hopefully they won't make it a hat-trick by knocking us out in the World Cup final. Hakimi puts the ball out for a corner. Belgium with the first chance of the game. Goalkeeper gets there, catches the corner. Great goalkeeping. And he's going to unleash a fast kick. And is Ali going to be away? I think he's against Openda, the striker, back covering. And Openda just about has enough pace to stop Ali from getting a nice, easy early chance. Vermeeren through 1-on-1. Goes to the right of the goal. If he goes across the goalkeeper, I think he's probably going to score there. Unahi finds Ali. Little jink. Does a nice 1-2 with other Ali. But this time, the defender gets there just in front of him yet again. Good turn there from Ali. Hits it. That would have been one of the best World Cup final goals of all time. But unfortunately for Morocco, goes over the bar. Ali finds the fullback, finds Unahi. Ali hits it on the turn. He was born in Belgium and he scored against his own country. No wonder he doesn't celebrate. The Belgian-born Moroccan puts Morocco 1-0 up at half-time. Great scenes here from the African team. They're fighting for this title. They want to become the World Cup winners more than Belgium, and you can really tell from how they're playing. Yuri Telemans finds Vertessen, finds Openda. Great defending there from Hassan and Saeed. Ali, he finds Hakimi. Hakimi's found Ibrahim in the middle, 1-on-1. I think he's going to go around the goalkeeper. Oh, he can't quite get there. Dennis with a decent save, just blocking the run. And Vertessen, he's through 1-on-1. He missed one earlier. He's missed again. This is like Robben in the 2010 World Cup final. Stroikens turns. He's got Vertessen. Oh, Hassan cuts it out before he gets a third go at scoring. Luca Oyen on the wing. Is he going to get to Openda? He is. He's got Vertessen. Another great interception from Hassan, but he's been taken out. Vertessen tries to go into the box. Saeed on the cover. I think a combination of the goalkeeper and Saeed is going to keep that out of the net. So 5 minutes to go now. Morocco on probably their last attack of the game. Ibrahim finds Ali. Ali again. He nearly scored a second against his own nation. And it's going to be a 5-man substitution for Morocco now. The 88th minute, they're wasting time. And also, they're trying to secure this win, the 1-0 win, which they have done. Morocco are World Cup champions, the first African team. It also means we have completed the first Pentagon challenge that's ever been uploaded to YouTube on FIFA. So that's kind of like a world record when you think about it. But Morocco have won the World Cup. I hope you really enjoyed this series. I've had so much support, so many more views and subscribers and comments and likes and everything than I ever expected when I put the first episode up there. I wasn't even sure if I was going to complete the series. But thanks to you guys, you've inspired me to do it, and hopefully you've enjoyed the stories that I've tried to make up along the way, some of the editing we've done. I hope you've really enjoyed this series as much as I did making it. There's been a couple of times where maybe it wasn't so interesting, but thank you if you watched every single minute of this challenge for doing exactly that. And we see Hakimi maybe doing a bit of a magic trick there by not actually holding the World Cup but celebrating with it. Thank you to everyone who commented use Morocco for this challenge, because obviously they did really well in 2022, so it was super fun to use some of those players in 2030. Maybe it won't actually be in Morocco and Spain and Portugal, probably in real life it will be in Argentina and Uruguay, but still, I enjoyed every minute of this save. Thank you all for watching. Share the playlist with someone if you think they'd enjoy it, because every one of these videos is now in a playlist. You can watch them in the order that I intend them to be viewed in, but of course, no stress if you watch them in some random order or maybe skip the Asian Champions League and stuff. There's the winning goal in the World Cup final in Portugal. Thank you all for watching. Cheers and goodbye.